Hello everyone, this is Andrew from Crown Academy of English. Today's lesson is comparing the present with the past. So, in this lesson you will learn 3 ways to compare the present with the past. So here are the 3 ways. The first way is a word called nowadays. Then we will look at these days, and finally we will use the word today. Okay, so let's start with this one. Nowadays. So here is the pronunciation. It's 3 syllables. Days. Okay, so be very careful of the spelling. There's a letter A in the middle. Okay, and it's pronounced nowadays. Nowadays. So let's look at some examples of how we use this. So this is Mark's granddad, and Mark is talking to his granddad. So Mark says, "Granddad, did you watch that film last night?" So did you watch that film last night? And granddad replies, "No, I don't watch TV nowadays. I don't watch TV nowadays." So this means that I don't watch TV in the present. It's another way of saying I no longer watch TV. So this implies that the granddad used to watch TV, okay? But nowadays, I don't watch TV, okay? I don't watch TV nowadays. So we're making an indirect comparison with the past, okay? So in the past, perhaps he used to watch TV, but he doesn't watch TV nowadays. Another example, nowadays property is very expensive. Nowadays property is very expensive. So this means now, or in the current situation, currently property is very expensive. So this implies that in the past, property was cheaper. Okay, so property used to be cheap, but nowadays it is very expensive. Okay, so property is the general word for buying and selling of houses or apartments. Okay, so it's the general word, the general term. So property, and it's singular. So property is very expensive. Okay. And another example. Nowadays, Jane works a lot and she doesn't have time to relax. So this implies that perhaps Jane didn't used to work as much. So in the past, she used to work a little bit, but nowadays, Jane works a lot. Okay, she doesn't have time to relax. So if we have a new situation in the present, okay, if something in the present is different to the past, then we can use the word nowadays. Okay, so granddad used to watch TV, but he doesn't watch TV nowadays. Property used to be cheap, but nowadays property is very expensive. Jane used to have time to relax, but nowadays Jane works a lot. Okay? Now nowadays it is quite formal. This is quite a formal word. Okay, it's often used in written English and in formal spoken. Yes, when we are speaking quite formally. Okay? Now let's look at another way of saying this in an informal way. So these days is more informal. Okay, it's more informal. So we use this much more in spoken English. And the meaning is the same as nowadays. So nowadays and these days, it's the same. And just look here, it is 2 words, it's 2 separate words. So let's look at some examples. People these days spend too much time on their phones. So people these days spend too much time on their phones. So this implies that perhaps in the past, people didn't spend too much time on their phones. In the past, people didn't have smartphones. But now, in the present, everyone has a smartphone, and people these days spend too much time on them. Okay? So we're making an implied comparison with the past. Okay? Nobody buys newspapers these days. Nobody buys newspapers these days. Okay? So the fact that we say this, since we are saying these days, then it implies that we are comparing with the past. Okay? So nobody buys. People used to buy newspapers. People used to read a lot of newspapers. But nobody buys newspapers these days. So it's changed from the past. It's changed. The situation has changed compared to the past. When Mark was a student, he used to drink a lot of beer. He doesn't drink alcohol these days. So he doesn't drink alcohol these days. So this was the situation in the past. He used to drink a lot of beer, but he doesn't drink alcohol these days. Okay, now in the present, it is different. He doesn't drink alcohol these days. And it looks like he's drinking a cup of coffee. Okay, so nowadays and these days, it's the same meaning. We're comparing a situation in the present with the past. Nowadays is formal or more formal, and these days is more informal. Okay? Let's now look at the word today. Now this is slightly different. We use today when we need to use a possessive. So if we need to use a possessive, then we have no choice. We must use the word today. Now let me give you an example to show you what I mean. So we're talking about computers, the size of computers. And we say today's computers are smaller than those of 10 years ago. So notice that we need, this is a possessive. This means computers of today, or present day computers. Okay, computers from, yes, the present time. That's what this means, computers from the present time. So we need to use a possessive here with an apostrophe. So today, apostrophe S. So the computers of today, or today's computers, are smaller than those of 10 years ago. So you can see this is the comparison with the past. And we can only do this with the word today. We cannot do this possessive with the word nowadays. Okay, this is wrong. Okay, we cannot do this. This is incorrect grammar. So that is why we use the word today. If we need to use a possessive, then we must do it with this word. This is wrong. Nowadays computers are smaller. No, we do not say this. And likewise with the word these days, we cannot say this. Okay, so we use today if we need to use a possessive. Let's look at one more example of this. It is difficult to find a job in today's economy. In today's economy. Okay, it used to be easy, or it used to be quite easy to find a job in the past. Okay, but in today's economy, it is difficult. Okay, so with the economy, in the economy from maybe 10 years ago or 5 years ago, it used to be easy to find a job. But it is difficult to find a job in today's economy. So in the economy of today. So the current economy is another way of saying this, the current economy. Okay, so I hope that has been useful for you. Before I finish the video, I just want to talk to you very quickly about an English grammar ebook that I recommend. So this is an English grammar ebook that I recommend. So if you're looking to improve your English grammar and you're looking for a good English grammar book, so it's an electronic format so you can download it, then I recommend this one. And you can click the link in the description below this video for more information. And there's also a link on the screen now. And that will take you to an article, a page on my website where I give you a little bit more information about this grammar ebook. Okay, it's very good. Okay, so that's the end of the video. Again, if you're interested in that ebook, you can click here. And here are some other videos that I recommend. Thanks for watching.